Hey, today I'm going to teach you how to make plantain salve yourself. But as always, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm always trying to put stuff on there that might help you learn a little something, and we can learn together. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, a little plant identification. This is called wood sorrel. You can see it has 3 leaves like a clover, but those leaves are heart-shaped. And this plant will also have these little green banana-looking seed pods. And they also have yellow flowers. I think they have 5 leaves on them. But this is part of what I'm using in that salve. Now you can eat this, it's good for your blood. A lot of people will pick it and put it in salads. It's got a tart flavor to it. But this is one of the plants that I'm using in that salve. Like I said, it's called wood sorrel. So here is the other plant that we're using in this salve. It's called plantain. So this is a broadleaf plantain. Got a big round leaf on it, but these are being chewed up by bugs. It's easy to identify with this seed stalk. This plant is 100% edible, just like the wood sorrel. But all I'm going to use is the leaves of this plantain. So this is the narrow leaf plantain right here. And you can identify it by the leaf. And it's also got this, it grows this long thing that gives a head on it. We used to shoot them off as kids. And I might have to, you'll have to forgive me for the audio because I'm close to a road. But there's plenty of this narrow leaf plantain. And right beside it is some of that broadleaf plantain that I'm using in that salve. So there's the 2 plantain plants that grow here. They grow wild and they're easy to pick and dry out. Okay, so all of that plantain and all of that wood sorrel that we had picked is now, I just set it on the table. You can hear it crunchy, right? So now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it in olive oil and coconut oil. And I'm gonna let this infuse in that oil for about 3 weeks, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so I've got some extra virgin olive oil, and I decided not to do the coconut oil because it's a little expensive, so we'll do the coconut oil. I got 2-gallon jars here. Be sure that you have cleaned and sanitized your jars because you don't want things growing in here. And you're just going to pour the olive oil in here, and then you're going to let it sit for 3 weeks at a minimum. The longer it sits, the more it'll infuse. But as you can see, we're just going to cover up all of that plantain and wood sorrel. I split it in half and put half in one jar and half of another. And then we're going to fill these up. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to make the salve. But we'll show you what it looks like afterwards, and wish we had smell-o-vision because it smells really good when you get this out of here. Now, when you pour this out, of course, you're going to have to pour this through a cheesecloth to get all of these leaves and whatnot out of that. So there's 1 gallon. We'll do the next one, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have infused the plantain and the wood sorrel into the olive oil, and I've already strained one. So you come out with this wonderful smelling oil. It's got kind of a citrusy smell to it, but you only need to infuse it for about 3 weeks. Now, the longer you let it set, the more it's going to infuse into that oil, the better it's going to be. So I've actually left this for a couple months, but I'm just going to take a piece of cheesecloth. I'm going to put it over the top of this jar so I don't get any of that plantain and stuff pieces in the oil. I'm going to take this jar, and then I'm just going to dump the oil out. You can see it's just straining out all those herbs that we've planted and infused in there and just left with the oil. Now you might get a little piece of something in there. It's not going to matter. But we're just trying to separate and get all that oil that we've infused with this plantain and wood sorrel.
Okay, here is everything you need to make that plantain salve. Now, I have all these tins here. They are 4 ounces are the bigger ones and 2 ounces are the smaller ones. And just like when you're canning food at home, you need to sterilize those jars before you put food in them. This is going to be the same way, because we don't want things growing in here after we've made our salve. We've spent all this time in trying to do it right. We want to make sure it stays. So here's my 2 things of my infused oil. I have some lavender essential oil that I'll put about 4 drops in. And then I have this, it holds 8 cups to here. And the reason I want to know how much oil I'm putting in here is I have to put the right amount of beeswax for each cup of oil. Now, a lot of people will say 1/4 cup of beeswax to 1 cup of oil. I personally like about 3/8 of a cup. Makes it a little bit more firm. It's more like a balm instead of, it's not near as, I would say, runny, even though it's not runny with 1/4 of a cup. You do it however you want to do it. Figure out what you like the best. But we're going to fill that 8 cups up, and then we're going to put it on this burner and heat it up on a low heat. Just let it get warm enough to melt the beeswax, and then we'll turn around and pour it in those tins. And after I get done, I'll show you me pouring it in the tins. I'll even show you me putting in the beeswax in the oil, and then we'll stir it up, get it all done, and then after it hardens, we'll show you the finished product. So I have 13 cups of that infused oil on some low heat there. Just gonna let it heat up. Now, like I said, you can do 1/4 cup of beeswax. Try 1/4 cup and see if that's what you like. I use 3/8 of a cup, so I'll be putting almost 5 cups of beeswax in this and melting it, and then pouring it in the thing just as fast as it melts. All right, so the oil's good and hot. It smells wonderful. But I'm gonna take some lavender essential oil, and I'm just gonna put a few drops in there. So a little smell of that lavender. And then I'm gonna put the beeswax in there. You can see it melts pretty fast. See, it melts pretty quick. So all that wax is now melted in there, and now I'm gonna turn the heat off of this, and I'm gonna start pouring. So you just pour them till you get to the line that's in there, which is about halfway. And then we just let it harden up. We just leave it sit here until it gets solid. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So we've got all of these filled, and I still have more in the pot, so I'm sanitizing some more tins, but we're gonna let these solidify. They're still hot. Sure does smell good. So they solidify in the can. You just rub a little bit on your finger. You can rub it on whatever affected area you have. It's good for eczema, poison ivy, bug bites, rashes, cuts, scrapes. So there you go, 5 simple ingredients. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, plantain, wood sorrel, essential lavender oil, and beeswax. And you have your own homemade salve. Plantain salve. Pretty cool.